Christ, debt-ridden millennials hitting pause button on major life events from Zero Hedge. That's from yesterday's article. It was emailed to me. Guys, what have I been saying for the last, I don't know, for years now? Do you remember? I don't know if you go back far enough in my videos, like 5-6 years ago, you'll see how I had to put my entire life on hold because I was born in the late '70s. I was born in '78, right? But I had to put a pause on life. I really wanted to have kids, start a family. One, living in Vancouver was impossible to meet somebody because everyone I met, a lot of the women I met wanted to date really tall, lanky guys, right? And I'm only like, I think 5'9" or 5'8", so women don't like that. So another thing was, that was a problem. And then finding someone and settling down and offering a good lifestyle, like a decent lifestyle to raise a family. So it was just a nightmare. $2 million homes. I did a lot of walking around the streets there in Vancouver. A lot of videos were taken down from 5-6 years ago. They were getting a lot of views too. And I'm talking about putting life on pause, and all my friends that went to school with me are putting life on pause for getting married, taking a specific job, having kids, doing certain things because the cost of living is just a lot more. It's probably like 17 or 25 times higher than it was 25 years ago, right? So, and people are making less. So, millennials, the generational demographic cohort following Generation X, born between 1980s and the mid-90s, outnumber Generation X, the baby boomers. Millennials have been referred to as the echo boomers due to the acceleration in birth rates starting in the boomer years in the early 1980s via interest rates suppression, which continued into the 90s before the unraveling of the dot-com bubble. This generation is now coming of age to the majority of labor force by the mid-2020s. Their influence in American society is starting to be realized, although it is leaving a negative mark on economic. As one thing is obvious, millennials and debt go hand in hand. So this is the student loan. Look, I live with my parents. I am a mother of two. I have $85K in school debts. I'm a millennial. So, according to the NBC News, I don't trust those guys, survey, the most common form of debt is 18 to 34-year-old Americans is credit card debt. Approximately 75% of the millennial cohort have financial obligations, and they are pausing major life events because they are too broke, the report noted. See, why do people fly into debt? I never carried a debt. The only debt I carried maybe was one car payment, but I managed to pay it off in 6 months. Who carries like massive amount of debts? So, a quarter of as a result, up here. A quarter of millennials have racked up over 30K in bills, including 11% over 100 large in debt, skyrocketing. Only 22% of millennials are debt-free. So 22% is very low. As a result of all this madness, saving is not hip with the millennials, which has limited their economic mobility and left many unprepared for the next financial disaster. Oops. Central bank boom bust economy. Each generation throughout the past century has experienced some form of deliver aging. What happens next? Well, you guessed it. Millennials could be the next generation to feel the wrath of natural selection through the aging period. As it all depends on when the next recession strikes, the survey confirms that millennials have the weakest balance sheet, with credit cards playing an even more significant role than the pesky student loans. In a period of wage stagnation, along with the latter stages of the second longest economic expansion in U.S. history, credit card debt is the most significant liability millennials on the balance sheet. Meanwhile, as home ownership rate for millennials has rapidly declined. Only 20% said have a mortgage or home loan. So there you go. Wow. Credit cards, then followed by closely by student loans and then car loans. The survey indicates that millennials with college degrees tend to utilize credit more often than those without college degrees. Shockingly, nearly 50% of all African American millennials have student loan debt. Millennials with college degrees are more likely to have... We just read that. When it comes to saving, 30% of millennials have less than $1,000 in their personal savings account, and only 1% have over 100 large saved. But 24% of millennials have no savings at all. That's huge, guys. How much do you currently have in your savings accounts? Less than 1,000. Wow. Holy smokes. So it's only 1% have more than 100K. Wow. That's scary, man. 2/3 of millennials said that they will have trouble paying an unexpected, expense greater than $1,000. The survey added African American and Latino millennial groups would have a harder time coming up with the money than other racial subgroups. So there's the financial difficulty if you had an unexpected bill. So a lot, some, not much, none. Here is the bombshell. A majority of millennials have hit pause on major life events because of what they owe. Yes. Stated the survey, nearly 34% of millennials are holding off on buying their first home, and about 31% are delaying savings for retirement. The report even said debt has affected millennials' family structure. 14% of millennials have postponed getting married due to high debt levels. Exactly. And that should be national crisis. 16% have delayed having children. So this is a big deal, guys. This is a ripple effect that's going to affect every millennial living in every English-speaking country of the world that has held back. Majority of us, like I was born in 78, so I'm 40. Okay? I didn't hold back to buy a house, not because of my debt levels. It's because the city I lived in, a teardown was like a 2 million bucks. I don't know if you remember that video I did with that house on the corner in Vancouver about 5-6 years ago, or 4 years ago, where the house was completely falling apart. The house was like bent in a way because the foundation is cracked. The house was built in 1939, and they're asking $2 million for it. And you have to tear it down, and there was no land either. So I did a video on that. I don't know if it was taken down, but I'm not spending $2 million in a house that's worth 60 grand, because the house was probably worth 60 grand. But in all fairness, this is what's happening. I held back not because of that. I held back because of the cost of the cost of living was just way too high, and it wasn't worth it. It wasn't the bang for your buck. You know what I'm saying? Because what you could buy for $2 million in other places 5 years ago, holy crap! Tennis courts, helicopter pad, a place to park your boats, like an intercoastal, like in a water zone. Like, yeah. Anyways, let me know, millennials, what's happening with millennials? I mean, I don't fall in the millennial category. My wife does, but she's a full-time stay-at-home mom, raised the kids, and run her little shop here. That's what she does, you know. She orders her stuff in, and I put it away, and I help her out, and we do fine. But what about other millennials? Let me know what you guys think. I'm just rambling on too much. Holding back on life. It's true. I've been talking about this for ages. And if you're just tuning into my channel and I'm going to ask questions that I have already answered in other videos, please watch my other videos. You actually like some of them. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day. Bye.